You know, I just wouldn't want to keep doing things. Like even if I feel I've done anything interesting in the past, I think that's great. But what am I going to do next, right? So, you know, if I have a show and there's 50 people on stage, well, next year there better be 70 or 80. You know, you know, like, I'm just thinking, why stop? Because I think if you sort of get too comfortable, then you get stagnant, and you just start talking about the good old days all the time and listening to the same albums you've had in your collection for 40 years. And, you know, that's just no fun. You know, like, I'd like to think that my nieces and nephews will always think that I'm their cool uncle. Right. So I'm working hard to keep them happy.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with Vikas after a very short break. Welcome back to Field Achievers. We are speaking to a very interesting gentleman whose name is Vikas Kohli, and he's a great musician and a producer from Mississauga, and we're having some very, very interesting discussions with him. So continuing our discussions, Vikas, I'd like to ask you, of the various awards you have received, I know you have done a lot, I'm not going into individual of those, which award do you value most, and why do you value most?
You know, I have been lucky to get some awards, and each one's been different, and I like that. Like, I got with the Real World Trailblazer Award, it was from the film industry, so that meant a lot because I had just started venturing into doing composing for film. The Weekly Voice, because it came from the South Asian community, then it kind of felt like my family was giving me an award, right? And everyone likes it when your mom says you're good. And then the Marty was cool because it was the Mississauga Arts, right? And so I felt that artists themselves were recognizing what I did. And but there's been, you know, I've worked with a lot of great artists and directors. Then I owe them because they trust me with their work when we work on a project. And some of the projects have gotten awards, and I think that's kind of the coolest thing, because then we can, you know, when a film wins an award or some other project, then everyone gets to celebrate. You know, it's a better party at the end. That's what I'm getting at. So those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, anyone that has achieved anything great has faced some difficulties or obstacles. What was standing in your way, and how did you persevere?
Let's see. I think, you know, the first thing is moving on into any sort of entrepreneurial role is a risk, and especially in the arts. And Canada has a lot of support for the arts, but at the same time, the industry it's not the most lucrative, right? You gotta,
for sure.
It's an interesting conundrum because the population and all sorts of things. But I think that what got me there was, you know, we were lucky enough to meet just the other day, and we were talking about the favorite songs, right? And I said it was My Way, and that, I think that's the sort of thing that keeps me going. That the message in that song, I would rather, you know, even fail, but fail saying, hey, but that was my failure, right? You know, like I ruled that failure, you know. And just sort of throwing caution to the wind a little bit, and but at the same time, you know, it's just balanced with a lot of determination. That's it, and you know, if you lose everything you got, what's the big deal? You just start over tomorrow. That's it.
So would you say that you surprised anyone, your family, friends, when you decided to go full force and pursue music as your career?
Yeah, everyone thought I was crazy.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it was crazy. You know, I was established in my career. I'd spent a long time educating myself in, you know, in other areas, and I had done well for myself in those areas. So everyone was, you know, the argument was, well, once you're making this much money or you're in this stage of your career, you can't ever turn back.
Right.
So I got there and I said, turning back. So, you know, but I think that it was almost because I had done that. That's what gave me the motivation to say, well, hey, I did something cool here.
Right.
Now I'm going to try to do something cool in the area of the arts and music. And
bit of light bulb moment for you.
yeah, I just, you know, and no question, it's been a lot of hard work.
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't want to make it seem that flippant. It was, you know, I work harder than I've ever worked before. Like I've worked in investment banking, I've worked in finance, I've you know, done all sorts of crazy things where, you know, it's supposed to be the hardest job in the world. But there's absolutely nothing harder than building your own thing, and if it's something you care desperately about, because when you care about it, every detail matters. And so I obsess constantly over little things. I'll work at 4 in the morning, I'll wake up at 6 in the morning. If that's what I need to do to get the project done, it'll get done.
Yeah.
So Vikas, we're quite aware of your professional life. Most of our viewers know about your achievements. We want to know something about your personal life. So is there a woman behind your success?
So you already know this, right? You know.
Google tells us a lot these days.
But you know, I
want to hear from horses now.
So if we're going in that direction, I have to say that, you know, both my parents were super supportive. So the woman then would be my mom, who's still around, and I have to thank her for, you know, as all traditional moms, she probably grit her teeth so bad when I told her what I was going to do. It's like, Mom, I'm leaving the professional world, going into this world that she didn't even understand what I was doing.
Yes.
But she, you know, sort of silently supported and just let me sort of go with it. And she's done that always, like with all the crazy things. I got away with a lot of crazy things when I was young. And I just seemed to always just do just enough good to let me get away with that. And so I owe her from that point of view. And just, I think, you know, we all draw like from our friends and our family. And my family means a lot to me. You know, I've got a lot of family around town. I got 9 nieces and nephews. I'm saying hi to them right now.
Yeah.
So,
shout out.
Shout out to the Kohli clan. And you know, I just love like spending time with all of them. And like I said, I don't know what else. It's just, family means a lot to me. So that keeps me going.
So you've already left a very strong imprint on both the Canadian and the international music and film industry. What's
next? You say so.
Well, I know so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of awards and achievements to back it up. What would you say is next for you?
Next for me. Again, you know what? This is the worst career advice. If I was ever a valedictorian, I would give the worst career advice to the graduating class, because I think that part of what I do is I don't really plan it out that hard. I kind of have a little bit of faith that it'll all just sort of work its way and everything will come together. So I can tell you for certain that every year I feel like the prior year I was a fool and I didn't know what I was doing. And then I learn, I take on some new projects, I learn new things, I meet new people, I learn from them, and I think, thank God I know this now. I don't know what I was doing for the past X number of years. But then next year I feel the same thing. So with that attitude, I just feel that I always want to keep innovating and keep finding new artists to work with. Like, I'm always on the hunt for new talent, because I think if you keep it, if you get too siloed and just work by yourself, you're bound to get stagnant. It's about finding, people young and experienced that can teach you things along the way.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about an event that you have heavy ties with, the Bollywood Monster Mashup?
Right.
I'm sure your family will be attending that.
Yeah, they're forced to.
They're behind your success.
Yeah,
it's
that's
their
right.
duty too,
that's
so.
right. So I did the event the first time last year. We launched the concept for the IFAs that when they came to Toronto, and the whole concept was I wanted to create something, create a show, and the idea was to draw upon all the talent of the different artists that I've known and worked with, and put them on the stage in a sort of on a real world-class type platform, and build something unique and collaborative. And so I did that last year. We had like 54 performers, and we did all sorts of fusion acts with all Bollywood, electronica meets classical meets 50s Bollywood to 90s Bollywood. The members of the TSO on stage, all stuff. And this year I'm doing the same thing. We're putting 80 people on stage, and we're going to bring a choir on stage and a funk band, and it'll be a huge celebration, and I think everyone will really dig it.
We are looking forward to it, and if Vikas Kohli was to give an advice to the aspiring musician, producers out there, what it would be?
Let's see. The best advice for people. Well, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. So first thing is watch other people and don't do their mistakes. Second, I think the one thing I'm learning is be nice and work hard. That's it.
Great. So we thank you very much for being a part of our show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Very, very thank you once again, Vikas.
Anytime.
And we'll see you next time.